All right, hey everyone, welcome to the Zeke Pro League tournament. We have here today Team Pulse versus Team Light, and starting in the top left corner of the map, we have the yellow Terran, Kawhi Light, aka Kawhi Rice.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand position of Cloud Kingdom, representing Team Pulse, it is the Red Zerg, it is J Echo.
And a quick note for people who don't know, Pulse is actually Team Tesseract. They started off in the tournament as Team Tesseract, but Pulse is the new team name. New to the scene, but not new to the players. They're all the same people who were here before. They're people you've seen and loved, like Desro, Everrise, J Echo. So, again, Team Pulse is Team Tesseract. So if you enjoyed watching them play in the past through this team league, make sure to keep checking on them because now they are Team Pulse Esports.
Excellent. This should definitely be a really good match between these two teams because Tesseract, as I recall, was absolutely tearing it up in this tournament. And, of course, Light is one of the juggernauts heading into this thing. I believe one of the favorites to take the entire tournament. So this could actually knock one of them out of contention for top 8, couldn't it?
Well, there's Team Light, Team XO, Team Pulse, and I believe the fourth one, Henry. I want to say off the top of my head are just the first four I can think of that are just leading this tournament right now with like X versus O losses type thing. So really, they are definitely the favorites, and we have two kind of giants colliding, as Tony said, in this matchup. We'll see how today's rounds go. This is, of course, a best of 9 between teams, not between players. So if either J Echo or Kawhi Rice are knocked out in round 1, it's not the end of anything. They'll just swap out with another teammate and continue on with the tournament.
Exactly. And am I the only one who's thinking that I should call him 9 Echo?
I'm not getting that.
Number J, Day 9.
Well, maybe other people agree with you, but I am not seeing it, so leave it at that. Although I gotta say, I don't know if you ever watched Lost. I want to just call this guy Mr. Echo and assume it's a big black guy playing a Zerg right now.
I've never watched Lost, but that would be an interesting image. Like, how tall are we talking? Like 7 feet tall, or?
Oh man, like monster African tall.
Oh wow, that'd be interesting. Like a guy that big trying to manipulate a little keyboard and a little mouse.
His index finger would probably be the size of the mouse. Let's be honest.
How do you APM with that?
I have no idea. But Kawhi going for that early CC. Barracks first, of course. Very safe opening. And Mr. Echo down here has also taken his hatchery. Spawning pool following shortly after. So nothing other than the standard from both these players so far.
Exactly. And I just want to point out for those who don't know, Kawhi is actually Japanese for cute.
Oh god, we're gonna drop some anime info on this.
No. This isn't any of that. I actually studied Japanese before the entire concept of a weeaboo existed. Yeah, like, before that whole Kawaii Desu stuff existed. I was like 12 when I studied this, okay?
Fair enough. Well, the one really cool thing I do want to note is I personally am a huge fanboy of Kawhi Rice. I've seen him play on his stream night after night, and the one thing he has got going for him that most other Terrans do not, oh wow, going for a third command center already, is the fact that he's a very versatile player. He can play that bio, he can play that mech, so we'll see what he chooses to go with against the Zerg player. Taking his double gas now as well.
Yeah, we just know that this is a super greedy opening from him, but we have absolutely no idea what his follow-up would be, because these two gas could indicate either factory explosion, or it could just be for those quick double engineering bays for maximum greed with bio.
Yeah, I'm not too sure I would label it as greedy, more almost appropriate, because there was no scouting information to the base. Echo did not send a bunch of Zerglings across the field early on. I mean, it's Terran, you're not going to break through that wall. And this just kind of lets Kawhi get that economy advantage. He'll have more SCVs, he'll have mules, etc. So this is actually really nice on his part, choosing to go for that 30cc early on.
I agree, it's greedy, but it's well-calculated greedy is how I like to think of it.
Yeah, it's like cheese versus like harass, you know, there's that fine line.
Yeah.
And
it's
Echo
econ cheese.
So, I mean, Tony mentioned before, guys, it's like a race to 3 bases, and it looks like both these players are already gearing up. Kawhi slightly ahead because he just flipped that command center over should he choose so, but it will most likely stay in base for a little while, especially as an orbital.
Oh, that Zergling is well placed, actually. Oh, the SCV survives, but he does know about the bunker going up. These two queens should deny any sort of bunker shenaniganry on this hatchery.
Queen's very slow, but they will definitely get there in time, especially because that SCV is about 1 hit from dead. And snipes off that SCV.
So it looks like both of these players are like, well, this is Cloud Kingdom. Everyone knows the game doesn't start until we have 3 bases, so let's just cut the, the BS and go for a quick 3 base so we can proceed to mid-game right away. And
yeah,
we do see double eBay.
Some very non-expensive harass from Kawhi too. I mean, for the cost of 25 minerals in that bunker cancel, I mean, he did lose an SCV, sure, but he managed to draw the queens over Zerglings and cause maybe a little panic on J Echo.
Yeah, if we look at resources lost, they're even at 75-75.
And looks like Kawhi, with those two more bears coming down, going to lean towards Bio for this game, but he does have Reactor Hellions on the way, and these things are so good at harassing.
Yes, they are, and looks like he's going to gun down that neutral depot.
And just checking the time here, making sure we're still in sync. I'm coming up on 7:25 right now.
I'll just pause for a second.
Yeah, of course we do have the replay issues, guys. Everyone knows how they work. We'll try to keep them as minimal as we can.
There's Stim on the way. That'll finish just after his 1-1 finishes.
And start of a little bit of a choke at the front of Jericho's base. This is really nice because it kind of limits how much Hellions can get in and around, especially with that spine crawler there. But there are two Hellions heading down to the third, and with three queens, you should have no problem holding this.
Oh yeah, these Hellions won't really do anything. That's kind of why I'm not really too fond of Reactor Hellion openings from Terran anymore. It's so easy to hold off because of the Queen range upgrade.
It's interesting too. I think Jericho was expecting more of a Banshee Hellion opening on this because we do see Spore Crawlers going down all over the place.
Oh, so he's just preemptively preparing for it. And it's not going to come. I don't even see his starport. Okay, there's his starport. It looks like he's going to swap it with his reactor for quick medevacs at the 9-minute mark. That's pretty quick medevacs for 3 base play.
Well, 2.5. The third one's not really out yet.
Well,
These Hellions
yeah.
are postured to come in. Four
They're
Hellions.
lined up.
Oh, but Jericho with some amazing reaction time does start to pull those drones back. And Zergling's trying to get this round off. Queen's blocking off the other end, and he's starting to pick off these Hellions. However, 3 workers were lost in that poke.
That was a pretty decent trade. He cost some mining time, lost about 100 resources worth on his Hellions, killed 150 resources worth of drones. And his armory's lined up with his +1/+1. Really good timing on that. I always like to see that.
Yeah, medevacs are so super strong versus Zerg. Like, people don't realize, like, you get that infestor ball. Sure, an fungal growth can just destroy Marines, but if each of those Marines has a personal medevac, it's not an issue.
Yeah, it makes the infestors a lot less effective, and we should be seeing +2 armor coming out of Kwai Rice. He is taking his 3rd base. The Zergling will spot it, though.
And checking out on our Zerg player, he does have a macro hatchery coming down in the main right now, going for all that extra gas, finally saturating them. But finally on 3 base with all his gas mining in the first 2, he should be set to really go whatever path he wants at this point.
Yeah, his layer's finishing up.
Yeah, sticking mainly to Zerglings for now, but I mean that's all you really can do. No, he's got the option for Banelings, but he hasn't put any on the field yet. But he might just want some, as there's a lot of Marines and Hellions coming towards the 3rd right now.
There's his infestation pit, and yeah, the +1/+1 on his Zerglings does usually indicate infestor play over Mutalisk play.
And there is a beautiful amount of creep spread on the map right now from J Echo. And as a Terran player, I'll tell you, creep spread is just the most annoying thing to deal with. And when you've got this much this early, that puts you in a really nice position.
That was a really nice scan by Kwai Rice. He took out a lot of creep tumors, killing the queen. He's got to back up from these Banelings.
You're a little ahead right now with Tony. As I'm coming up on 11:15, and here we go. I think there's that queen death we just talked about a moment ago. Lots of Banelings coming up, though. Not even going for a spread, trying to fry him alive with those Hellions. Some focus fire going down, but not quite enough, as these Banelings are just getting closer and closer. And unfortunately, all the Marines... Oh, get picked up! As Kawhi somehow gets out of that fight alive.
Looking at units lost, Kawhi is definitely ahead by about a third on that count, by 50%.
But of course, that is mostly Zerglings. Very expendable units, very numerously expendable units.
This is quite true.
So Baneling speed on the way, and for those who don't know, Baneling speed plus creep outruns Stim Marine, so Kawhi's got to be very careful to clean up this creep, or at least not fight directly on it. But it looks like he is coming back in for round 2, but there's a lot of Zerglings here.
Kawhi is pushed back. I like the wall he's setting up at his 3rd base, actually.
Yeah, bunker, couple supply depots. I mean, it can obviously be very easily bust, but it does, of course, eat all those Banelings, so that the Marines do have a better chance at surviving later on.
It makes run-bys a lot more... You gotta commit a lot more to a run-by if you want to... You know, just because of that wall. You gotta actually bust through the wall and whatever, and there's a bunker there, so... Anything to just deter those Ling run-bys, because if you don't have any defense and you lose all your SCVs, you can just lose the game straight up from there.
Yeah, we do have +1 tank weapons on the way, which is beautiful because +1 tank weapons will one-shot Zerglings no matter what armor level they have, and that's exactly what Kwai's gonna need to deal with this many Zerglings and Banelings on the field.
Yes, indeed. Echo is going up for his hive right away, so what do you think he's going to do? Do you think he's going to transition into Ultralisks? I don't see his Spire. If he wanted to go for Broodlords, he'd normally throw the Spire down exactly the same time as his hive, as they have identical build times.
He could just be taking it for the tech path. I mean, really, right now, Echo's kind of... Both these players are in this weird state where if either of them's caught off guard, it's going to change their build order drastically.
Oh, Kawhi's trying to come down his ramp right now. I'm not sure if I like that idea too much. Nice pullback into the choke there. Oh, that Baneling hit hurt.
And Tony, I think you should leave the play-by-play to me, sir. I'm only saying this because I seem to be a few seconds behind you again. I'll check settings after this. Don't know what's causing so much lag, but Zerglings are swarming in here. They annihilate that tank, and those Banelings are just melting the Marines. However, 2 tanks at the top of the ramp, providing some very, very nice cover fire. Meanwhile, we are coming up on 1422 right now, sir, just so we can resync ourselves.
Okay. +3 armor has started just right about now for Kawhi Rice.
And look at the worker count right now. Echo with 92 drones on the field to the 66 of Kawhi Rice. I mean, taking that fourth, he's just got so many workers right now. And the Ultralisk Cavern has been plopped down. Infestors in the middle of the map do fungal a couple Marines, but again, these medevacs have more than enough energy to keep them alive.
Look at workers killed. I just want to bring that up.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous that you could be 15 minutes in the game and have so little on each end.
Yeah, that's really peculiar, especially since we had Hellions going in. Oh, here's a
big attempt to get into the base here, but a lot of SCVs just doing the repair job. And that's the beauty of those supply depots.
Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier, preventing that run by. That could have done... Imagine how much damage that would have done if those depots weren't there.
Indeed. We do have the tanks sieging up, trying to push down here onto the 4th, but there's some Banelings rolling in. Getting focus fired down, not a single Baneling connects with even a Marine. However, there's still a lot of Zerglings there. Quirice has got to be careful. His Marines are away from his medevac. Not to mention this huge flank that looks like it's going to come in from behind.
I love a huge flank. I don't know about you, Rifkin.
Of meat, but that's about it. Meanwhile, Kawhi trying to push out with reinforcements, but those Zerglings are poised and ready. We'll see if he catches them. However, he has eliminated most of this base, and I think the 4th will fall. However, Echo has established a 5th up here in the top left, and in the middle of the map, oh, the Zerglings do catch those tanks unsieged. Marines going to be able to annihilate this, but unfortunately a couple Banelings connect and take out a lot of Marines, actually.
I wonder if Kawhi will be able to secure that base. The base right now is really exposed, and there's just one little Zergling hacking away at it. It's going to become a planetary fortress, though. Which is nice, seeing as Echo is going for Ultralisks.
It would appear my mouse has started to die on me.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah, it's, Sorry about that, I hope there's no feedback. As
I heard some. It's okay. We do see some Banelings morphing at Kawhi's natural 4th base. Looks like he's going to try and break through into his 3rd.
Yeah, coming up here on 17.5 minutes, guys, we have 100 Zerglings on the field, not to mention 9 Banelings morphing in. 6 Ultralisks on the way, and Kawhi's got to catch all this before it becomes too much to handle. Oh, but unfortunately getting caught himself, actually trying to come around. These tanks still not sieged. Marines doing what they can to these Zerglings.
Looks like it was enough the Banelings weren't there.
Planetary Fortress doing a good job keeping that 4th base alive. Kawhi desperately needs to have that income, especially if he's going to remax after the Ultralisks, which are now pushing up on these unsieged tanks. And with the Baneling connects, there's no Marines to support these tanks, and they fall very quickly to the Ultralisks. However, Kawhi is pushing up into the 4th. However, it has not been reestablished.
He's actually up a base against Zerg right now.
Only very technically.
Oh, beautiful fungals by those infestors.
And they do catch almost all of the Marines, plus the medevacs, and those tanks trying to siege up, but not quite in time. As Kawhi is getting overrun here by the Ultralisks. Nice lift off to save those Marines. However, this planetary will not be... It doesn't have enough juice. There's just too much coming at it right now. Zerglings are getting fried alive, however there are 4 or 5 Ultralisks here, no repairs going on. Fi has to keep this base alive, but no, it falls! Ultralisks coming in again, these unsieged tanks, well I guess it's not bad that they're unsieged, but the Ultras are just walking over them nonetheless. Fungal's holding the Marines in place, and I think Kwai is suddenly in a lot of trouble. He's got a nice bank to fall back on right now, but he just doesn't have the unit count to deal with this.
Yeah, he can't spend it quickly enough.
Loading up that bunker, but the supply depot not put up in time, so Zerglings do get behind it. Ultra still is just going to town on everything right now. And